Well, we were waiting the Jewish organization to help us out, and my dad took me to the beach where there's Promenade des Anglais, which is a very wide avenue, and we were in the water a little bit, with our feet, and then on the way back, there was a big crowd of people across the street in front of a casino, and two men in white jackets came out, and my dad recognized them. They said they're famous people, those two, and they were signing autographs. One of them was Charles Boyer, and the other one was Maurice Chevalier. And I was watching it, and I was, at that point, I was already 12 years old, and I looking at them from across the way, so far away, I thought, as an immigrant, as a refugee, I would never be able to cross that figurative path from here to there to be where those men are. Postscript is many years later, I was a theatrical agent booking Maurice Chevalier, and I brought him a bottle of French champagne and drank with him, and I realized at that point that little refugee boy crossed that avenue. So that was Nice. This is what I remembered about Nice. Subsequently, we ended up in Brussels, and we waited 3 years. Our life was normalized. My parents enrolled me to study the violin, and I went to school. And subsequently, we got the affidavit, and we took a boat, and we came to this country. And when we reached this country, the ship moored in front of the Statue of Liberty. Bless you. That's my grandson. The ship stopped in front of the Statue of Liberty to allow the immigration officials to come on board. And it was early morning, and I was waiting to have my documents signed. And I was standing and watching my shadow, the shadow of me with the sun behind me. It was casting this long shadow. And this immigration official who spoke Yiddish, he said, he came over to get me to sign it, and he said, "You have reached a country where you can grow to be as tall as your shadow." I never forget that. I was 15 years old, and I came to this country, and let me give you my conclusion. And then I have anybody who has questions, I'll be happy to answer. I learned from my experience to accept anyone and everyone in my life, notwithstanding who they are, their religion, origins, and so forth. I was successful passing on this ethos to my children. There's one of them, Erica, who have evolved into the most admirable human beings. For that I am grateful. And to you for letting me share with you my story. Any questions? Yes.
I have a question. Is there a particular word out of the Holy Scriptures that you clung to or knew, like when you were going through all of that, either your parents shared with you or, you know what I'm saying, like a particular verse, like a particular word out of like the Torah or anything?
You mean while I was growing up?
Yes.
My mother was very strict with me, by the way, and I had to be very polite. I forgot. I had to be very polite with elderly people and all that. I mean, she was very rigid about that. I don't remember any words, any key words. Well, actually, my dad, while he was home, he's the one who taught me. I don't read well Hebrew, and just before with the rabbi, I was saying Shema Israel, and I remembered most of it, and that my dad taught me. So there were things he did teach me when he had time on it. But
This area that Ellen Wallenberg bought off, was that part of the Red Cross ghetto?
Red Cross? No.
In Budapest, there was a Red Cross ghetto.
There was the Red Cross had they had some buildings, but most buildings were by Raoul Wallenberg.
My grandparents were there.
Oh, they were.
Both
Oh,
of my parents were born in Budapest.
oh, they were. Yes,
Yes, but my father was born in 1944.
right.
He's the only baby that survived
Yeah.
that area.
Oh, really?
Yes, they were in the Red Cross area, but when the Russians came to liberate them, Nazis shot whoever was on the street at the time. Now my father's father was there.
Oh, yeah,
So that's how they survived the war.
yeah. Well, the Vatican also had a building. The Vatican did. And the Red Cross. But most of it was the Wallenberg.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was part of Wallenberg's building.
Yeah, no, it was not.
It was a separate area.
You're right. Anybody else? Yes.
What languages do you speak?
I speak not well. I speak English.
Czech, of course.
No, I don't know. No. Listen, I'm a canceled Czech. Remember? Yes. No, I don't speak Czech. I speak some German, Yiddish, French, Italian, Hungarian.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yes.
I would like to thank you for sharing your experiences with us. It was very informative and very moving.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Well, kudos
Yeah.
to you, you turned out so
Yes.
beautiful.
You mentioned you became a talent. What did you become after?
Well, no, I was an agent with the William Morris office for 14 years.
That would be
Uh,
in America then?
In America, right. And then subsequently, when my son was born, my wife and I decided I should do something that I like, and I started producing films. So that's what I was doing for the rest of my life. Yeah. I did. First, I did documentaries. I couldn't get. Then I did a movie miniseries, People versus Gene Harris. Do you remember Gene Harris who killed? Yeah. So I was the producer on that, and I did some films with Alan Arkin, and they're all mostly TV films. Tony Orlando. Who else? Institute for Revenge. I did. Yeah.
Julie Harris, the one from Airplane. Who was that? Julie.
Oh no, Julie Haggerty. I did 2 films with her.
Louise.
Yeah, yeah,
Not bad.
yeah,
We did a lot.
yeah. I did. And Erica was working with me on it. In fact, on one film, she came and I was stuck for a scene, and she was. How old were you? 15, 14?
Yeah.
And I said to her, "Write me the scene on something." She went in, she wrote a scene, and we filmed it. So she was in there. Yes.
East Coast, but he used to fly out to the West Coast.
Yeah.
And come home on the weekends. He'd be out there, but that was on the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, we
You put me
did.
in a few things.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
So it was always assumed that Maurice Chevalier and Boyer were basically anti-Semitic and
That's right. But I didn't, I know. But I actually, with Chevalier, who knew I was Jewish, but we didn't have a personal relationship, and I was aware of that. But this was way after the war. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I have one question for you.
Yes.
You were in Budapest, which I visited many times. There was a ghetto in Budapest.
Yeah, I lived near the ghetto. You mean the
Ghetto
big
right by the main shul.
the big shul? That's right.
So when
Dohain
you-
temple.
Right, the Dohani shul. So when you were there and you were living in a house, you were not part of the ghetto?
No, we never was part of it. We moved over 50 times in Budapest from one place to another. Some places they wouldn't rent us for more than a few weeks because of me. I was too young. They didn't want with children, and others because you were Jewish. Right? So I lived near that ghetto. I remember on Betlen Gabor there in half a kitchen. We had half a kitchen they only had a bed and we could use the kitchen, but we had one bed for the three of us at that time. Yeah. But
So somehow you were able to keep yourself out of...
no, when the ghetto came along is when we ended up on the one of the Wallenberg houses. So that was in 1944. So that's how we ended up there. We tried to avoid the ghetto. That's why we were happy to be there. It was somewhat safer at one point. But then when my mother pretended to die, the people who were taken out, a lot of them were gathered along the Danube. Did you visit that?
Steps.
The steps? They were gathered, and three of them would be put together, tied together, and they would shoot one and let the other two drown. I mean, it was awful. Yeah. Yeah.
Time for one more question with anybody?
Yes.
I should think of something more weighty, but when you said William Morris Agency, might as well drop some more names, because that's famous, I know.
Yeah.
They work with, there's probably some stars that would know their name. Sorry to be so light, but that's just what comes to mind.
Well, many stars.
Okay.
And some of them were, there were some good experiences and there were some terrible experiences.
What years were you at William Morris?
1956 to 1972.
Oh, okay, yeah. Big years for pop culture and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Baby
No,
boomers.
yeah. Yeah, I booked many people. Danny Kaye, Sammy Gage, or many people. Yeah. But it was a big agency at that time. Yeah.
I know the name.
Yeah.
It's famous.
Yeah. But it was good. Okay.
Super. Thank you. We're going to do now briefly Mariv, the evening service, 7 minutes. The fast is just over. And everybody's please welcome to stay for refreshments afterwards to break the fast. Otto will be, again, selling and autographing his book, which is at the back there for $15. And Otto has told me that this is the time of the refreshments is usually the best time for good questions. And please feel free to stay around. Once again, thank you, Otto, for the honor, and thank you everybody for coming.